This is what okay, so Kill the King, really, man. Kill the King, to me, it's a representation of killing the ego. I feel like the King of the South moniker, it's very egotistical, self-gratuitous, and it's a persona that kind of enters the room before I do physically. You know what I'm saying? And Big Boy, actually, he cautioned me of this back when I was just coming on to the scene, man. And I went to all the legends that I respected and I had access to, the Southern legends, like 8 Ball MJ, like Bun B, um, Pimp C was away on a mandated vacation, so Bun B proxy for him. uh, like Outkast, Big and Dre, Goody Mob, Scarface. You know what I'm saying? I kind of went to him and just I was like, yo, so you know what I'm saying, the King of the South thing is that's what I'm going with, and and I want to, out of respect, just kind of see how you guys feel about it, and all of them gave me their support. Scarface told me straight up, I don't want to be king. You can have it. I believe Dre said something like, well, what does it really mean to be king? Like, you know what I mean? And Big said, well, yeah, that shit sound cool. I like it. But just understand, if you the king, you're going to put a big bullseye on your back. You know what I mean? You can't be looking for no favors. I'm like, yeah, okay, but you all right with it though, cool, right? And he's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but just understand the name of the game. I mean, life is a game of chess, or chess is the game of life, and the name of the game in chess is to kill the king. So just understand that that's what you kind of setting yourself up for. And at the time when he said it, I didn't really think much of it. It didn't resonate to me. But standing here 20 years later, looking back on my career, looking back on, what I'm saying, just kind of the experiences that I've endured, I kind of can see what he meant now. You know what I'm saying? Thing is, bro, when I called myself King of the South, you know what I'm saying, I really ushered in the idea or the thought that it's okay to call yourself king. Like before, it was kind of like something that everybody, because that's how it came about to me. KP and myself, we were on the way to a studio session coming from the mall. Uh, and we were listening to the Mystical album Tarantula that it just dropped. And on the album, he said he called himself the Prince of the South. I was like, if Mystical is the Prince of the South, who would be the king? And I was just asking a question. It was kind of rhetorical. And I was kind of looking at the window, and I turned and looked at KP, and he looked at me, cut the radio down. He said, "You would." I say, "I'd be damned if I wouldn't." I mean, shit. I think I might. I think I might. And we happened to be going on, we was on the way to a session. Beanie Siegel and I were collaborating for the Shaft soundtrack on a record called Two Glock Nines. And
Yep.
and I think that was the first time, you know what I'm saying, I just said it out loud. And when people heard it, the visceral reaction that they had, that's what made it more personal for me. When people start telling me, you can't call yourself that. You can't. I say, well, who the fuck are you to tell me what I can and can't call myself? And that's kind of when I began to feel more ownership, or more, I felt like, okay, well, now I got to stand on this now. Ludacris, who was Chris Lover at the time, had a massively successful radio show with Poon Daddy, and one of Poon and Chris's partners from Disturbing the Peace, they record label, he kind of took, he had adverse opinions about me calling myself the King of the South. But he said something like on the radio. So I called him to the radio station. I said, I tell you what, man, if your boy say he the King of the South, man, you know what I'm saying? Well, your boy got a problem with me being the King of the South. Why don't he call in? He kick it first. I'm gonna do mine and let the people decide. And immediately my partner KP, he was like, man, that is a horrible idea. Why would you say it? He said, man, you gonna call his homeboys radio show and you gonna let them be in control of it? I was like, yeah, well, we going with it, right? And that's what happened. And then, you know what I'm saying, the people voted, and that's when kind of it was like, yeah, he the king then, you know what I'm saying? And that's, that was the beginning of many a long road of challenges and of opposition and just
Man,
adversity. You know what
I
I mean? That was the first step of a very long journey. I just got through recording last night. I was with JD, man. I went to JD studio, man, and he blessed me with one. You know what I mean? So the process is ongoing. Um, but I mean, I love it. I love the process. This is my favorite part of it. Actually recording and coming up with the music, the DNA of the project. You know what I mean? Once you have a concept for an album, the body of work. That's the fun part. Hip
mhm.
hop has always been, a communication of experiences from authentic representatives in the community. You know what I mean? Um, so I wasn't the first person to speak about these actions or activities, but as far as branding, using the word trap combined with the word music to describe a sound which details um, the authentic lives and lifestyles of people who are, let's call them, refugees from the war on drugs, if you will. I think that's what we can say, that Tip kind of introduced. Because before me, man, I remember how big of a deal it was to get Dope Boys in the Trap played on the radio. Greg Street was the only one who would play it, you know what I mean? And before that, there were innuendos, like of course Master P had Ice Cream Man, and even with Ghetto Dope, like they had to change it to Ghetto D in order
That
for it to be played on the radio. You dig what I'm saying? And I think that Dope Boys in the Trap uh, opened us up to now where you have all kinds of what I'm saying, all kinds of references being alluded to on the mainstream. That's the importance and the relevance of trap music. That's why it's so, it's become such a phenomenon because there's so many people who have experiences. Uh, whether you know someone who sold drugs, or whether you know someone who used drugs, or know someone who went to jail for it, or know someone who was, shot for it, or everybody in America has a relation or a commonality with drugs or the drug trade. Um, and I think that's what makes trap music so relevant. We got some things in the works that have yet to be unveiled to the public. It was important for us as a collective to not just celebrate the album, but celebrate the genre, because I think the album opened up the doors